Seth Rollins. He said he was going to reclaim the championship that he never lost. Seth Rollins did all of that. For the second time in his career, Rollins is the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. The mission statement has been fulfilled. Seth Rollins has held that title twice, but has never lost it. Not in the ring. He reclaims the championship he was forced to vacate back in November. He's tied up to knees 100%. And Ambrose won the Money in the Bank earlier tonight. Ambrose won the Money in the Bank contract earlier tonight. Is he going to cash in? No way. Is Ambrose going to cash in? He's coming and cash in. It's not an opportunity time. Seth Rollins smash that up. Guys, Red Bull, Ambrose in the briefcase. Please no. Is he going to run? Dear God, no. Briefcase over. No. The champ is down. He's cashing in. Ambrose is cashing in.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dean Ambrose is cashing in his Money in the Bank contract.
We got a championship match. I can't believe it. We got a championship match. Rollins can't believe it. He's looking at a ghost of his past. Rollins doesn't know what he is. Ambrose. 30 days. Ambrose the cover. Drink out, Seth. Ambrose is champion. Ambrose is champion.
Here is your winner and the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, Dean Ambrose.
The ultimate playback. Dean Ambrose is WWE.
Well, they heard it. One of the biggest, possibly one of the biggest moments of the year so far. Dean Ambrose winning the Money in the Bank contest and then deciding to cash it in right at the end. That's how we're going to start off this week's show. We have a new name, the Wrestle Ranters, and we're going to have plenty to rant and rave about on today's show after the day we've had. So I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Aaron.
Yeah, hi, thanks Ian, and yeah, it's good to finally get a name to who we are and get a Facebook page up. Follow us at the Wrestle Ranters, and Money in the Bank is the first thing I guess we're going to be talking about. As you heard there, a very interesting main event unfolded where we ended up having all of the 3 Shield members in one night as the World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah, kind of something people have been asking for ages is just to have that moment in time of the three members, ex-members of the Shield, all in the ring at the same time. But was that the original plan? Was that supposed to happen? We don't really know. So many different things to discuss about what's happened in the last week in wrestling, and but I think just to start off with, we're going to sort of run through the Money in the Bank card. Probably not go through every single match, but we'll go through bits and bobs of it, and just discuss what we thought was good and what wasn't good about it. So I'm going to kind of hand this over to you, Aaron, because I know you've got all the matches.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, just quickly running through a few of the minor details. The kickoff show, Golden Truth defeated Breezango, and the Lucha Dragons defeated the Dudley Boys. That was the kickoff show. Wasn't much to talk about. I mean, the whole situation with Breezango, with the sunburn. I mean, what's up with that?
I think I was hearing reports that people who were actually in Las Vegas when Breezango came out, they didn't understand why they had all skanky stuff all over their body. I didn't know anything about that. So the people in the audience didn't have a clue really what was going on, which is quite sad, really. But yeah, I mean, it was a crap.
Yeah. I mean, it's I think the average wrestling fan's a bit wiser to the poorly propped suntan / flaky, big flaky skin that was coming off Breezango there.
I know. Sorry to interrupt, Aaron, but I know there was
Yep.
a tweet that was sent. I believe I can't quite remember. I don't know if I can find it, but it was sent by just a fan who basically tweeted Goldust and just said something that I can't believe this is what it's come to, and you know how sad is it? And Goldust actually replied and said, you know, well, at least he is on the show and that he is doing his job and that he's putting over new talent. So, you know, it's kind of Goldust's reaction to it, and he has got a valid point. I don't know. We're not stupid idiots, as Chris Jericho would say. You know, I mean, gimmicks aren't always good, but I mean that is just terrible.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can understand where Goldust's coming from there. But yeah, I mean, he's in a different stage of his career, which obviously it comes to the same situation with Cody. He's still very early into his career, so he's left WWE, you know, and he's gone and he will do better things. I believe that. But yeah, you know, it is sad to see what it's come to. I mean, love Tyler Breeze on NXT. I thought he was brilliant. Didn't really win many matches, but he still played a vital part of that NXT system. And I mean, Goldust, I mean, we used to watch him when we were younger, and the whole Hollywood thing, you know, with Terry Runnels and stuff, I thought that was brilliant. You know, the WrestleMania 12 with Piper, all that was brilliant. But, you know, that's, you know, it is what it is.
I can actually read the tweet that was sent to him. I won't say the name of the person that sent it, but I can tell you what it said. It said, "At Goldust, to be honest, you deserve better than this. You're a legend of the business, and you're stuck in this stupid angle." And Goldust replied, "Look, I'm here for two reasons: one, to get the young'uns over, and two, to get myself over in the process."
Yeah, I mean, valid point from the tweeter. It wasn't really a diss to Goldust. It was more like a plea, like, oh, we don't want to see you like this. But you know, I can totally understand what Goldust is saying as well.
I do think though the whole Twitter thing. I mean, they have a social media department, so if Goldust was to write anything derogatory, he would get pulled up anyway. So is he really allowed to voice his opinion anyway?
I mean,
He can't say, no, this is a load of crap, can he? Because he's going to get pulled over by the social media department.
Yeah, I mean, he can't really step really out of line, you know, because it is an industry that is very strong on social media now. You can't get one over WWE on social media or anything. And yeah, I mean, I guess we got a few other things to talk about later on in the podcast about tweets from wrestlers within the WWE. But yeah, moving on. Within the show, obviously, you had the Fatal 4-Way tag match. You know, New Day retaining against the Club, Biscuit Club, like you like to call them. Enzo and Cass and Vaudevillains.
Yeah, sorry, I have trains going past my house. If you're wondering what that noise is. Yeah, the Enzo Cass Vaudevillains remind me of the outcome of that match because I've forgotten.
Well, you know, New Day retains.
It was yeah. Sorry, I think that was that annoying train just went in there. Yeah, I mean, New Day retaining. It's a difficult one. Do they really need the belts? They're over anyway, aren't they? But
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, they're going for this record, aren't they? Of who was it? Brian Kendrick and
Paul London.
Paul London. So I mean, that's the first time I think it's been mentioned. So we're just gonna see when finally, you know, something does happen.
Yeah, obviously you had Corbin defeating Ziggler as well. You also had the women's tag team match between Charlotte and Dana versus Natalia and Becky, with Natalia turning on Becky at the end. I mean, heel turn for Natty. What do you think about that?
To be honest, I thought that Becky Lynch and Natalia were gonna pick up the win in this one. Um, I
Yeah.
thought that Dana or Charlotte or Dana or whatever, one of them was going to turn on the other. So I was quite surprised at the outcome of this match. But it's good to see Natalia go a bit ape and actually do something besides just smile and prance around and be happy to be there. That kind of, I don't like that I'm happy to be here image that she seems to always have. So we're just going to see where this one goes. But there are talks that this is her last run. We, I know Tyson Kidd's not going to be coming back, is he? So,
No.
is this her last run? We don't know, but I mean, you've got to play heel once in your career at some point, haven't you? So,
Well, yeah, I mean, with Natalia, she's the longest serving women's wrestler. They're not divas no more. Thank God they're women. Yeah, she's the longest serving women's wrestler there. She's done everything, you know. It's just nice to see her turn heel. Maybe it's, as you said, last run, new lease of life in the wrestling industry. But yeah, Apollo Crews defeating Sheamus. Decent match. Glad Apollo got his first pay-per-view win on his first pay-per-view, on the main roster, that is. Also, the dream match, AJ versus Cena. Well, what's your thoughts on that one?
I won't lie, I kind of nodded off a bit at the beginning of that match. Just quickly going back to the Crews and Sheamus's match. Crews has got to just turn it up a bit and stop just smiling all the time, or he's going to get like his teeth a bit dirty or something. I hate the way he's another one that reminds me of Natalia in the fact that he's just happy days. I get you're happy to be there, but like it's not entertaining to just see you come down to the ring and smile and just show your big white teeth off everywhere. If you want to show your white teeth off, go to Colgate and ask to do an advertising campaign. It's not. It's. I like Apollo Crews. I just really think he needs to work on this character.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, it was good to see him go over, because I think that's probably his biggest win since he's been on the main roster, isn't it?
Yeah. So, tips from you to Apollo, if he's ever listens, which I doubt he ever will do. Less Colgate and more anger.
Yeah, smoke some cigarettes and just get some dirty stains on the teeth or something, or
chewing tobacco.
Yeah, just do something, because it's not cool. So yeah, and then going on to the other Cena Styles match, I kind of nodded off at the beginning of Cena and Styles. I don't quite know why, because it was an incredible match. There's people saying that they're irritated that Styles won the way he did, but then you've got to remember he is a heel. Heels ain't supposed to always win clean, are they? But nevertheless, it's still a win.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at the Cena Styles match, yeah, it kind of is a dream match in a sense. I didn't think it, I didn't think it was, I wasn't disappointed in the match at all. I didn't think it was going to be amazing match of the year caliber, because they're two different wrestlers in a sense. But the match was decent match. I did not like the ending of the match. I know you don't really, AJ's heel now. You don't have to get a clean win. It's good that he got the win. It's only his second pay-per-view win. But yeah, I very much watch New Japan Pro Wrestling, and seeing AJ's time in Japan with the Bullet Club, Bullet Club's, the whole idea of Bullet Club is to rebel against the Japanese way in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and he played heel, but he still was very much this hard to beat wrestler. He was portrayed as one of the best in the world, and I'm not quite sure how or where WWE are going with the whole AJ club situation. But I mean, they're making the club look very weak at the moment as well. So I'm not too happy about that or the ending of the Cena Styles match.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to add, into what you just said, is that the WWE are kind of confusing the average fan, I think, because they keep going on about not keep going on, but they've gone on about AJ's past and he's wrestled all over the world, and that's been sort of well documented. And but then they're kind of, as you say, what you're doing, they're not portraying him in that way. But you have to remember that WWE, let's face it, they don't look at themselves like they have competition. They're their own entity. So
Yeah.
as much as they talk about a wrestler's past and what they've done in Japan and they've wrestled in big arenas and whatever, they also kind of want us to forget that and just say, well, this is this AJ Styles bloke and he's brand new in this company. So they're kind of telling you about the wrestler's past and how great and how amazing they are, having this podcast with him, but then they're also not giving him what they're telling us he's done, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I mean, they give this impression, which I don't think's bad, that this wrestler's career starts in WWE. AJ, with AJ, I've followed his career since 2005. I've been a massive AJ fan. And he, from TNA to his Bullet Club days in New Japan to now, it's all very similar, but slightly different types of AJ. So I get it, but yeah, I'm obviously a bit worried, but no, it is what it is.
We can move on and talk about AJ Styles a little bit later because we can talk about the podcast very briefly as well. So
yeah, moving on. The next match was the actual title of the event itself is the Money in the Bank ladder match involving Ambrose, Del Rio, Cesaro, Jericho, Owens, and Sami Zayn. Your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I really like this match. A couple of bits kind of stick out in my mind. The part of the ladder being up in the middle and then the two ladders coming off the bottom two runs, whatever it is, and the moment where everybody was on the ladder, and I mean, those ladders ain't particularly strong. I was expecting them to just like collapse or something. And then we had the one where it was Sami Zayn, I think, wasn't it, who slammed Owens on the ladder as it was in it was kind of upright on its side. Thing. And I do wonder, like, the amount of risks. And nowadays, people seem to just get injured over anything. And I kind of think to myself, can they be putting Owens in the situation of taking bumps like that?
Yeah, I mean, I know the bump you're referring to where he was arched backwards over the ladder.
Mm.
There's been some funny memes of it, like of him and Homer Simpson on Facebook and whatever. But yeah, my thoughts on the match in general. You said about all six of them being on the ladder at the same time. What a picture that was. Just one of the great moments. I mean, it wasn't even a high spot. It was just a moment where you're like, whoa, how are they kind of doing this? And it's all kind of in sync. And it was a nice moment in the match. It was one of those Money in the Bank ladder match images that you will remember, throughout time that's associated with Money in the Bank. But all in all of them great workers. so you're bound to have a great match. I thought it was a really good ladder match, and Ambrose got the win, and I think it was about time he won, and obviously which kind of led to the main event and stuff.
I would
So yeah,
just like to say that I think the reason a lot of people enjoyed this match is because, apart from Jericho, it was all people that everyone really cared about. Everyone felt some form of investment in that match. I mean, Jericho did a great job, don't get me wrong, but I mean, he doesn't. The guys that were in there, he doesn't need. They don't need to be put over by an old school wrestler. So I don't really understand why he was in there, but they all complement each other quite well themselves.
well yeah, I mean, I can myself I can understand Jericho being in there. I mean, he is that wrestler who can float from main event to upper mid card talent, and he can have a good match with anybody. They associated him, being the inventor of the Money in the Bank. I mean, just Jericho is just on fire right now. I'm so glad to have him back in the WWE. Um, Whenever he picks up the mic, I'm all ears. Whenever he's in the ring, I want to see what he's doing. He's one of those timeless legends that you just enjoy watching. But
I have to admit, I can't even remember if it was on this Raw or a past Raw, but there was that amazing segment, and it was Owens, Jericho, Del Rio. I think that was it. And you had Del Rio calling everyone Pero.
oh, brilliant! Yeah.
You had Jericho just calling everyone stupid idiots. And Owens was on point, and he why do you keep calling everyone Peros? Do you like dogs? Have you got something about dogs? Um, you know,
Called them a pair of idiots.
Pero, like those things. Jericho is bang on. I love that. I'm just a bit bored of seeing him in matches, which kind of brings me to another point. I don't know if I will remember to bring this up later on, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, okay. So, an incredible match, but an outcome that I don't really think anyone was actually expecting. I know my money wasn't on the outcome that we got.
Having a swig of his drink, by the way, if you're listening. Yeah, was that my cue to speak?
It was. Yeah, I've got to keep hydrated.
I know what you mean. Yeah, where were we?
We were talking about the outcome of that match.
Oh yeah, the outcome of that match. Ambrose obviously winning the Money in the Bank ladder match. As I said, I just think he deserves it. Out of all of them, he deserves it the most. It was Ambrose's time, and
But being honest, who was your prediction on?
oh, my prediction was on Ambrose. I know within our group, who we'll talk about that later, but our little group of predictions, a lot of people were voting Ambrose or Owens.
I didn't know you. I didn't realise. Yeah. So okay. Yeah. Well done, you.
Well done, me. The thing is, I didn't just predict Ambrose winning the Money in the Bank. I didn't predict it happening on the night, but I did say he would cash in, or he would win and cash in and win the title.
But then again, that's what this match is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be unpredictable. It's supposed to be the unexpected. So in that respect, when you kind of slam your hand down on the side of your chair when you're watching it, just means that WWE booking are doing their job as much as people do bash them.
Yeah, I mean, I see it coming, but it was one of those things that you want so much that even when you see it coming, you're shocked that that WWE itself actually went with that, and that's more the exciting part of it. That they actually went with Ambrose winning and cashing in the Money in the Bank and winning the title. It's just
Well, I kind of
really good to see.
want to discuss that in a little bit about WWE going with that decision. But yeah, if we just move on to the main event very
Yeah.
briefly. Yeah, I mean, I've always said I'm not keen on Roman Reigns. I've never been shy of saying I'm not keen on Roman Reigns. But the last few main event matches he's had have been quite enjoyable. Um, what did you think of this match?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, with Rollins coming back, I was, every move that Rollins was doing where he would land on his feet, I was on the edge of my seat thinking, oh God, please don't put your leg out again. But I mean, he looked solid, Rollins looked solid. He looked like he hasn't been out injured at all, He just looked really good. Um, but it was a good match in general. Um, I just think, the whole spear into the pedigree was really done it for me.
I kind of think that was a sort of apropos way to kind of end that match. That's how he went out um, of having the title, so to speak, and kind of that was his way of coming back in to get the title. Um, so I thought whether that was just the way it just went, whether he decided that was the finish he wanted to have, I don't really know. But it was a brilliant move. I don't think I've ever seen that reversal before.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's just one of those things, kind of like, like you said to me earlier off the show, the whole WrestleMania 31 situation where Seth went for the curb stomp and Randy reversed it into an RKO, and it was just literally perfect. It was the same situation with the spear into the pedigree. Um, I was I didn't even realise what happened. It was so quick and it was so good. When they showed the replay, I was like, oh my God, that was really well put together. And I mean, for fans like us, I've been watching wrestling since '94. I've seen a hell of a lot of stuff. To see something slightly different like that is brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, then obviously you always expect that match to end. You always expect to have the winner of the Money in the Bank ladder match. You always expect them to just be running around with a briefcase for almost the next year at least. Um,
Yeah,
and I mean, it wouldn't have been so bad. I mean, seeing Dean Ambrose running around with a briefcase, I reckon he could have done some brilliant promo work, with the aid of that briefcase. I think we could have seen some incredible stuff. I just getting to the head of the guy. I reckon there would have been some really good stuff. But just shortly after we thought Seth was back with a vengeance, we saw Mr. Ambrose wander down and go up to a sweaty referee and go on at him. About wanting to cash it in.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, when when's the Ambrose music hit, as you guys heard in our entrance to this show, I mean, I was just marking out, I was just like, this is it, he's gonna do it and he's gonna be the champion, and it's just so refreshing to see someone like Ambrose as champion, and it was a good moment, It was the whole Seth Rollins coming back from injury, the 3 Rs that he's been saying about the whole 24, show that he did, and you got really invested into Rollins, even though he was come back heel. You was really invested in Rollins coming back and taking that title off Reigns, and WWE were like, there goes the carpet, and yeah, he Ambrose cashed in and won the heavyweight title.
yeah, quite, yeah, a good moment. The second half of that show definitely a lot better than the first half. But we got a lot to talk about today. Got a hell of a lot of stuff to talk about. So I kind of want to go on to talk about Raw.
Yeah,
And I
we'll
kind of
cover it quickly.
very quickly. I kind of think the main points that I want to bring up, and I'm just going to get on with the main point now because I'll forget otherwise, was that Roman Reigns coming out to the ring, and the crowd were they're just not having it. They were, I believe the chant was it "You can't wrestle"?
Yeah, I mean, it is rather annoying. I mean, I'm not a Roman fan myself, but I'm a wrestling fan, and to see, the crowd still say that to him, chant that to him, when it's obvious the guy can, you know, as evident to the last three pay-per-view matches, just very, very annoying to see, and it must be terrible for him.
It's starting to grate a little bit thin. I mean, I'm not a Roman Reigns fan, but obviously the guy can wrestle, or he wouldn't be on the main roster. I don't think it's anything to do with his wrestling style. I think it's purely stubborn fans. When I go to a show, I'm not going to cheer for Roman Reigns, but the guy can wrestle. He's had some, good matches in my opinion. You just don't have to cheer the guy if you don't like him. But you had all the crowd chanting, "You can't wrestle," and then he came out with a comment that was something like, "Oh, why don't you all just go and sip your beer," or something like that. Which I heard that comment and I thought that's not in the script. Everything's pretty much scripted now. That wasn't in the script. And then we see him, just carry on in a Raw episode, and then I can completely forget when was it. Was it the next day?
What?
We had
What Raw?
well, no, we had the tweet about
Oh yeah, well,
happened. I know that's another
yeah,
story, but
yeah,
I kind of want to mention it now because I will kind of go off on a tangent. You know, there's conflicting stories that Roman knew he was going to be suspended at Money in the Bank, and that's why, for whatever reason, I don't understand the booking, but that's the reason Ambrose landed up with the Money in the title. Last minute booking change, I really don't know. I'm hoping Ambrose keeps that title for a while, but I've got a very funny feeling it's all interlinked with Roman being suspended, and that they needed a feud. They needed some kind of feud, and now they've got that feud between Seth and Ambrose, because they can't have the feud between Seth and Reigns because he won't be around for 30 days.
yeah. I mean, obviously, that's happened, and it's a sore subject. I mean, do we just cover it now and just get it out of the way? We might as well. We've talked about it anyway.
Yeah,
But I mean, obviously, Roman being suspended for 30 days, violating the wellness policy for his first time, so that's a 30-day suspension. That obviously means he's back just in time for Battleground. They already set up on Monday Night Raw the triple threat between Ambrose, Rollins, and Reigns. A dream Shield match that we want to see, but it is a bit of a touchy subject with fans right now.
it's a kind of difficult one, and the suspension falls. I think he'll be returning a couple of days before. Well, whether it will be on telly or not, but the 30 days in WWE's eyes, I suppose it's kind of landed quite luckily that he will be at Battleground, because that's kind of was the advertised match, really, wasn't it? So we're just going to have to see where it goes from here. But the thing is, nobody actually knows what he violated. So it was a wellness policy, but it could be anything.
Well, yeah, I mean, respect to Roman not doing it. Obviously, it's not right him doing it. And he's took his suspension on the chin, and he's took to Twitter to apologise to his fans, to apologise to his family as well, and it's he's took it on the chin, but I don't believe he deserves to be in that title match at Battleground, no matter how much I want to see a Shield triple threat match.
The thing is, it's very difficult because WWE take the drugs policy, the wellness policy, they take it so hardcore that you're not even allowed to. If he was to go to a doctor and he was to get some medication, it could be anything. It could be he could have a rash or something. If that medication has got a trace of anything that WWE can see as suspicious or that could put him in a volatile situation, that's enough. You literally everything drug wise, paracetamol, anything has to they want to know.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have. It's not. It might not be as sinister as what people are saying. It kind of annoys me when people go roids or anything like that because it's not roids.
Yeah. I mean, what's your verdict on Reigns being in the main event at Battleground, and B, should he just be in the title picture altogether?
Well, it's difficult. I don't know how WWE are going to do this because it's very hard to have a build up to a triple threat match of that caliber without having one of the participants in the lead up. So I think that WWE are going to focus on Rollins and Ambrose. I don't know how they're going to deal with Reigns. A lot of people are furious that he basically gets a 30-day holiday and then comes back and is in the main event picture. I don't think he will win the title. If he does,
he don't deserve to.
I don't think it's a matter of he doesn't deserve to. I think it would just the fans would be, but they would be pissed, and they want. Whether it goes on Rollins or Ambrose, the fans are going to be happy. But who knows? The WWE world, it's so fast paced. Things happen and people have forgot 2 seconds later. So all the WWE have to do is focus on something else. Roman Reigns to me isn't someone that I would ever miss. If they weren't on a Raw, I wouldn't be bothered.
Yeah.
It's only because of his position in the company at the moment, people would be like, "Oh, where is he?" But if he didn't have a title, no one would notice he was gone.
Well, yeah, that's it. I mean, he's in a position where he's being groomed to be one of the next top stars. So he's got a responsibility to, not do silly things like that. It is a bit disappointing. As I said, I don't think he deserves to be in that title picture nor win the title. Saying that, I mean, maybe Ambrose retains Battlegrounds, drops it to Seth at SummerSlam, maybe. Who knows?
Who knows? Shall we sort of run through? There's not that much at all.
No, I mean, really, I just kind of want to, mention. Obviously, there's 3 returns this week on Raw. One in particular, I know you are very happy about, and we're not talking about John Laurinaitis. We're talking about Sasha Banks.
Yeah, oh man, I was over the moon with that. Such a good return, such a good response from the crowd. I'm just hoping. I've got this hang up on returns at the moment. That returns they're just about that moment in time, and they're not about what is in the future of that return. And I'm hoping that they last this out till SummerSlam. They build till SummerSlam. I'm going to sound slightly ridiculous in saying this, but I don't know if I want her to win the belt at SummerSlam.
What's your reasons?
Because one, she doesn't need the belt, even though she deserves it.
To be over, you're saying?
Yeah, but on the other hand, look at Daniel Bryan. Look at the moment he won that belt. That's a moment that I won't ever forget. If that moment was at a SummerSlam, would it hold as much prevalence? Would it be as historic than if it was at a Mania? Mania's ages away yet. We've got yonks, and is she going to get lost in the shuffle till Mania? And the way things go at the moment, she could be suspended, injured 3 or 4 times until we got to Mania. At the moment, WWE, people are all over the place, and injuries, and who really knows what is going to happen. I'd love to see her get the title at Mania. I think she's the kind of wrestler that would make the event, and I'd rather see that happen at a Mania than I would at a SummerSlam.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I mean, I really do think the women's match at WrestleMania, the triple threat with her, Charlotte, Sasha and Becky, was one of the best matches of the night, you know. Not because I feel it was a poor pay-per-view, just because they really outshined. They took women's wrestling to the next level, and every woman in that match really showed something special. And Sasha coming back, it's good. As you said, she don't need to win the title to be over with the fans. She's already over. But yeah, I see what you're saying. You would like her to have a bigger moment than a SummerSlam initial title win. I mean, but I think it might be on the cards for her to win the title at SummerSlam.
I am slightly biased, but hey ho, I'm allowed to be.
You're allowed to be, yeah.
But that was the first thing. Then we had the very sharp red suited man with, I believe he had white shoes on. Yeah, it was quite. It was that was another like one of these what do you call it, guest Raw general manager kind of slots. And so John Laurinaitis comes back for this. Quite a nice little segment, more of a segment for nostalgia than anything else. You know, we've had John Laurinaitis, we had Teddy Long. Did we have anyone else?
Nah, that's it. I'm waiting for that screeching voice of Vicky Guerrero to come next or something like that.
Maybe she will be the next one. Who knows? I personally, who really knows? I mean, we've got a couple more Raws and SmackDowns, obviously, until the draft. But yeah, that was quite cool. And there was there one other return? Oh, it's the Wyatts, wasn't it?
The Wyatt family minus Luke Harper.
Oh yeah, don't get me started on the Wyatt family.
We have conflicting feelings about the Wyatt family.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, the Wyatt family or Bray Wyatt, you know, when it comes to promos, when it comes to when they first started, when it came to believing what they were saying, it was almost like you did believe it. But now I've heard it too many times, and it's like the classic. You know, you say you're going to do something, you don't do it. Then you say you're going to do something again, you don't do it. I just think the Wyatts...
Story of my life.
Yeah, exactly. And I just think the Wyatts are all talk and no walk, or whatever the old saying is. I've got no interest in the Wyatts at all anymore. I do like the gimmick, but you've got to live up to the gimmick, and they just don't do that for me.
Yeah, no, I get what what you're saying. Obviously with the Wyatts, Bray in particular, brilliant mic skills. He's got this brilliant aura about him. The gimmick's great. You know, I enjoy listening to him, but I think WWE have really hit their characters well, but they don't know what to do with them in the ring. You know, I mean, I would be pushing Bray Wyatt as a main eventer. You know, kind of like a mix between the next Undertaker / Mankind. You know, a mould of them. Like if Undertaker and Mankind had a baby, here comes Bray Wyatt. You know, straight from the womb of darkness. You know.
When I think of big babies, I think more Braun Strowman.
Well, that's what I'm saying, man. But yeah, I mean, obviously, Bray's a good wrestler. I mean, I like watching Luke Harper as well. I think he's got something good there. I'm not too keen on Rowan and Strowman, but they really need to start doing something with the Wyatt family. Otherwise, that will be a big opportunity missed by WWE there.
I mean, we're still waiting for Sister Abigail, aren't we? And everyone's pretty set on who that's going to be.
well, everyone's set on who they want it to be anyway. So
It makes the most sense, but yeah, you don't know who it'll be, but we're hoping. Is it Mika?
yeah, Miko, yeah, Rotundo, yeah.
Um,
We hope anyway. She's got the look. She's got that very.
I saw a picture of her the other day, and she looked very like someone from the UFC to me, to be honest.
Yeah, she's got the Wyatt type look, but she's quite sassy as well. Like, probably your type of girl, Ian. Yeah.
Well, no, I wouldn't want to piss her off, to be honest. But
No, I wouldn't want to see you piss her off, to be honest.
it's no Sasha Banks, mate. I'm not particularly interested.
She's no Becky Lynch either, but
um, but yeah,
yeah.
they were the three main returns, weren't they? I'm trying to rack my brains what else happened on Raw. Yeah, I see one thing.
Cena buried the Bullet Club anyway, so that's.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. Go on. You briefly talk about that quick.
Well, I think I've mentioned it earlier. I'm just not too happy the way they got the club booked right now. They look very weak. I'm not tremendous happy about it. I'm a big fan of the Bullet Club and all that, and I'm not liking how Anderson and Gallows are being booked right now. I'm liking the music and the new logo, and I don't mind it being
You
called
like the
club.
music, do you?
Yeah, I like the music. Yeah.
I think it starts off all right, like tough guys, and then it just turns into just give me a cuddle. It just
It it just don't match when you hear Nakamura's music or Sami Zayn, or I love Becky Lynch's as well.
it just doesn't do anything for me at all. It starts off like quite like a little bit aggressive, but it should continue to be aggressive. It shouldn't continue to be like My Little Pony. I mean, these are two tough, big slapheads. They're supposed to be scary, and I don't think that music does anything for them at all. But that's me. That's my musical taste. It's we're all different. But yeah, I mean, that was pretty much it for Raw, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's not really too much to really say about it. I guess going on to general wrestling talk, I mean, we kind of covered the Reigns suspension there. We're in the early mist of the Cruiserweight Classic within WWE. I mean, I know you've been keeping your eye on that, and what's going on?
Yeah, I'm quite excited about this. I'm kind of looking at it as the WWE uh, like at the moment we've got the Euro. I hate football. What is it? The Euro Cup.
Euro 2016,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what it's called. Football's all about all these different countries or teams coming together. Um, you know, the Cruiserweight Classic is almost like their own version. I mean, on Facebook Live they've been doing a lot of stuff, and they I think it was yesterday they had the what do you want to call it, the in-ring appearance of each wrestler. All it was is they just got in the ring and did a bit of posing, and the name came up, and there's just a quick blurb from Morrow Ronaldo, and one other thing, Daniel frickin' Bryan. So good to see him back on the screen as well. You know,
For
sharp
the
dress.
viewers, there are some yes movements going
Yeah.
on.
Sharp dressed man. He was looking on point, and so that's always a nice little extra. But yeah, no, some of the names in there. I would just like to say, the names of people like Davari, Tajiri, Kendrick. All great wrestlers. I'm not denying that at all. But it kind of makes me wonder if they're just bringing them in for the crack, almost like the reason that WWE are in talks with Jeff Hardy and Goldberg and blah blah blah. We'll get into that later on. But is that
Yeah.
to draw maybe the older fans back in? Is that what that is?
I guess maybe so. Maybe it's just fillers, or maybe it's just they got good working relationships with the company. You just don't quite know what's going on behind closed doors there. But I mean, obviously, we're here from the UK. If we've got any foreign viewers, from America or whatsoever listening, we are from the UK, and we've got a few of our own guys in there. More precise, we've got Zack Sabre Jr. in there, who, we are, well, I am as well, particularly a big fan of him, and I'm really excited. I hope he does really well. Um, Obviously,
He got an incredible response as well. Probably one of the biggest responses of the actual whole 32 competitors. He got the loudest reaction.
well, yeah, I mean, I know he's been doing a lot of stuff over in the US with PWG, and he's current PWG champion, I do believe.
Well, I know he was. I don't know if he still is, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So,
he's very over.
so it's going to be interesting, and I like the way that WWE aren't treating us like idiots with this. They're treating it as a professional sport. They're not, they're just not treating us like idiots. I felt when I watched that live video, I felt a bit like, yeah, this is good. This isn't like with as Chris Jericho would say, stupid idiots. It had legitimacy behind it, and I kind of think that's what people need, and maybe that will bring in a new audience to wrestling in one way or another.
Well, yeah, as you said, it's just good to have that global feel to it. And obviously, you've got promotions like Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling doing cross promotion shows. WWE, as you've said before, is very much their very own entity, but they kind of realise they need to do a few different stuff with a few different people. So I think this is a very good thing for them to do. They're cashing in at the right time.
I think it's an exciting time, and if just briefly we just mention about the current reports that have been talked about WWE being in contact with um, previous stars. We've had the names of Kurt Angle, Carlito, MVP, Tommy Dreamer, Jeff Hardy, Rey Mysterio, Bill Goldberg. Um, there's a point with all of them. I've personally heard Kurt Angle say that he would like to be involved with the forgot
American Alpha.
yeah, that he'd be like to involve with American Alpha. Um, we've heard Jeff Hardy on an interview say that he would like to end his career in WWE.
Makes sense.
And we know Bill Goldberg's going to come back in some capacity, because if you sign a 2K deal, that's basically in the print, isn't it? When you sign it, so many names looking to come back, and it makes me ask the question that if WWE put this draft thing all together and then gone, oh crap, we haven't actually got enough names.
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, obviously, if there's people that shine in this cruiserweight championship thing, you can imagine they're going to sign a few, aren't they? Obviously, like you said, rumours of people like Angle. I mean, he's not got much left in the tank. We saw him wrestle not long ago. He still looks decent, but he's very injury ridden. People like MVP and Carlito, not too sure about that. Goldberg, I don't know if you know, I saw today that Goldberg has injured himself in a very odd way.
Is that his knee?
Yeah, he's had a chainsaw incident with his knee. Have you seen the picture online?
I only said knee because I saw a picture of a knee with a scar down it. I didn't even realise it was Goldberg's.
It was, yeah, Goldberg. Yeah, he's had a chainsaw accident to the knee.
It's I mean, look at it. I mean, I forgot to mention. We had Warrior, we had Sting. Here we are with Goldberg. I mean, in all honesty, Sting only just about had a match.
Yeah, good, a good match, but yeah.
but he could still come back. He doesn't even need to wrestle. They can find something for him. They always do, you know. And we also heard that Stevie Richards was in talks, but it actually looks like that is to be a coach at the Performance Centre.
Well, yeah, I mean, that would be a good addition to the Performance Centre. Funny enough, earlier this year, I saw Stevie Richards wrestle within Ring of Honor, and he still had it, you know, he still could wrestle. I'm not too sure on Tommy Dreamer. Is he not getting like onion barges to the eyes still in the E&C show?
Last time I saw him, yeah, he was laying naked with a belt over his crotch.
With
And
a
Bailey was spanking him or something. That's
living the life. He don't need to come back.
happy days. But you know, and I think also a lot of these returns, they're only very short. You know, I think we might be looking at sort of 1 to 2 years. I think it's just to get the WWE out of the stum and just have a few people to put over other wrestlers, and then they can be on their way and go off to pastures new.
Yeah. What do you think? Also, two other WWE points is the pay-per-view calendar that's been released, and also I know one that you would be interested in, especially seeing as we are planning to go to WrestleMania next year, is the new WWE Encyclopedia.
Yeah, I mean, the pay-per-view calendar, I was excited to see it, but then in retrospect, when I really think about it, and a name is a name. I mean, they're not going to bring back the old stages. It's not going to have that swinging. What's the Backlash thing originally? It was like a swinging pendulum, wasn't it?
Like a swinging spike or something.
Yeah, they're not going to have that. It's going to be like Raw. Every stage is going to be like Raw. I'm trying to put it's Clash of the Champions.
No Mercy.
No Mercy. Was Hell in a Cell one?
Well, we have Hell in a Cell now.
There you go. That's how important it is to me. Yeah, Clash of the Champions, No Mercy, Backlash. It's just a name. It doesn't mean anything to me. It's good to have a couple of extra bits in there, but yeah. And then you've got. But are they going to be pay-per-views or are they going to be network specials?
Well, it's still something that, you know, we don't know which is involved with the brand split. Obviously, being two brands, and if there are going to be a lot more stars being called up from NXT, a lot more stars rumoured to come in, potential stars from the Cruiserweight Championship coming in to WWE, maybe they do need a few more pay-per-view events, you know. They did it a good few years ago. I think like 2007. They was like 14 to 16 pay-per-views, wasn't there, in 1 year or something like that?
Yeah, they've got to chill out on the content. That it's going bonkers. Too much content. I mean,
Money, money, money.
But is everybody going to watch all this content? I don't really want to sit down through 5 hours of wrestling in 2 days. It's too much. You know, I don't personally like all this extra content. I like the network specialty bits and the Cruiserweight Classic and all that, the 24s and all that. I love all that, but you know, at the end of the day, in an episode of Raw, you'll be lucky if you have 25 minutes of actual wrestling. It's just too much. We're too saturated, and WWE are never going to drop something. They never drop things. They only ever put more stuff out there. So it kind of does make me worried about the where things are going. But you know, I don't really know. You know, we're just going to have to wait and see as always, and you know, just try and enjoy wrestling for what it is, and hope that people don't get to a point where that if you miss something that it like worries you. I always feel like I have to watch Raw, but I know nothing ever exciting is going to happen.
Yeah.
You know.
Encyclopedia, is it something you're looking to invest in?
Oh no, I always like the encyclopedia. Personally, no, I won't get the encyclopedia. But a great item to have if you're a fan of going to signings and you just need to grab that thing. You haven't got your purchases in time. You know, just grab that encyclopedia. Always a nice thing to have, and a nice walk down memory lane.
Yeah, just a few little quick topics before we move on. New Japan Dominion pay-per-view was on the other night. Did you get to see any of that? I know you said you
I
was looking
didn't.
at.
I would have liked to, but yeah, thanks WWE, you've just drained all my
Yeah.
eye power on your product.
I must admit, I've watched everything except the main event. I've not watched Nato versus Okada yet. Very long match apparently, but it was a decent pay-per-view. Yeah, the first ever ladder match in New Japan Pro Wrestling between Omega and Michael Elgin. Elgin coming out on top. Decent match, very decent match. Someone who we're going to be seeing in the meeting in the future, Shibata versus Nagata, was a very Japanese, strong style type match. Old versus new. Shibata earned Nagata's respect. If you want to just see a match where people are just striking and kicking the shit out of each other, decent match to watch. But yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what I think of Nato versus Okada when I watch it later. But yeah, I mean, that's that, and obviously tonight you've got Ring of Honor Best in the World pay-per-view. You've got Lethal versus Briscoe 2, the rematch a year in the making. Same pay-per-view last year. Lethal won the World Heavyweight title off Briscoe. We tune in, see what happens there. Just another little news about Ring of Honor. Roderick Strong departing Ring of Honor. What's your thoughts?
I mean, he's been there forever.
Well, his nickname is Mr. ROH.
Yeah. So I mean, what is it? What's next? Why? Do we know this? Has anything been said?
I've not seen any solid rumours, but I mean, what can he do next except maybe go to WWE?
You
there's
always tend to think this, don't you? Now it seems
yeah,
the automatic reaction of what really happens, but who really knows? I mean, maybe he just wants to have a break.
maybe just a break. Yeah, who knows? I mean,
It's a difficult one to call, isn't it?
big loss for Ring of Honor, obviously. It's a big star. I've met Roderick Strong this year. Very nice guy. But yeah, it's a big loss for Ring of Honor. So yeah, I guess moving on. Oh, just one last, two more topics here that I remember you were talking to me about the other day. The TNA tweet and the CM Punk UFC situation.
Yeah. I don't have the tweet in front of me, but a tweet was sent to the official, the old tick, to the official TNA Impact Wrestling Twitter account, and it said something like, "Oh, do you know what? I can't even remember what it was." But the reply from Impact Wrestling was basically just saying, "Why are you so stupid?" Um, you know, it's no, actually no, I'm getting this slightly wrong. It was somebody had tweeted hashtag Impact Wrestling, so it wasn't even directed at Impact Wrestling, and they put something like, "Why do I think it was why do all your wrestlers look the same?" And then at TNA Impact Wrestling replied and said, Why is your tweet so stupid?" Or it's something like that. But you just wouldn't expect a a big wrestling company like TNA to basically be responding about to a tweet in that manner. It just seemed a little bit odd to me. It really.
Yeah, not very professional.
No, and I've heard just recently a podcast that Vince Russo does where he interviewed Billy Corgan, and Vince Russo literally ripped Billy Corgan a new one and just dumped all over TNA, and it's I don't know what the future holds for TNA. They're in they are literally in dire straits. It's ridiculous. And the actual tweet was how comes 90% of the wrestlers in TNA are all long-haired dudes with beards? And then I don't know if I can. And then TNA from their official account responded with, "How comes 90% of your tweets are stupid?"
That's a fair enough response.
Yeah, very, very odd. And what was the other thing you said about Aaron just now?
CM Punk with UFC. We're both big CM Punk fans.
Yeah, I mean, he's UFC 203 is when Punk is officially going to make his debut in the welterweight division, and he's going to fight Mickey Gale, which is on September the 10th, so it's not that long away. Punk's 37 years old, and he has been suffering from a lot of back problems as well. So, how is this really going to play? We don't know. He's been in UFC since 2000. Well, at the end of 2014, and nearly 2 years, and it's his first fight. And Punk hasn't made any bones about it that he's not building up like he is going to win. I think he's quite aware of what he's getting into, and I don't think people are expecting him to win, which is kind of good, because if he does win, it's like a bonus, isn't it? It's quite good. I mean, I'm going to be watching UFC 200 with Brock. I want to be watching this one with Punk. We spoke about Brock in the last episode. As much as Punk doesn't want to have anything to do with WWE, it's still gonna attract a WWE crowd as well, which is good. If it gives me more reason to watch in UFC, then I will. And also one other thing I wanted to mention, which was quite exciting, is that Lucha Underground, Ivelisse, who wrestles in Shine, is actually the Shine champion. They ran a Money in the Bank ladder match, and she won, and she cashed in the briefcase in the main event, which is incredible. So she's on top in Shine. If nobody watches Shine, give it a go. There's some great names in it. Shine 35. We had I got wrestling all over the place at the moment, so I can't remember everything. But we had Chelsea Green in there that you would know from Tough Enough. We saw a certain Chelsea Green in Tough Enough, and a lot of people didn't like her. If you watch her in Shine, you might have a slightly different opinion of her. She's actually quite a good wrestler. We had a match from Rachel Ellering against Tessa Blanchard. That was a very enjoyable match. A really, really good match. What else did we have in that match? In that event, I really cannot remember. But yeah, try and watch Shine. I always try to watch Shimmer and Shine every so often, because so many names in there that are going to make it big. And I just kind of think it's good to know where they came from and not just look at them in WWE and NXT.
Yeah, women wrestlers are doing it all over the world. It's good to know. Anyway, I'd like to take this time, halfway through the show, to give a shout out to our friends at Retro Wrestling. Retro Wrestling, for all your wrestling stuff, whether it be 8x10s or merchandise that you need to prepare yourself for up and coming events. That's retrowrestling.com. Very friendly guy in Chris. He will sort you out. Head over to Facebook, Twitter, and he will help you out as much as he can. Retrowrestling.com. We use it all the time. Anyway, getting back to the show, we were supposed to have a guest on today, one of our close friends, in Mark Thomas. We had a few technical issues earlier, and he ran out of time, basically. So we'll try to get him on another time. So the wrestling and me section is non-existent this week. So we'll just go on with the show. And obviously we had Money in the Bank. We talked about Money in the Bank within our little secret group of friends of misfits. We've had a prediction table going on since the start of the year at Royal Rumble. And so, yeah, I mean, do you want to know how you did, Ian?
I think I dropped down a position.
Yeah, out of 10, you got 6 points out of 10. 6 out of 10 matches you guessed correctly. That took you up to 47 points, and you know, we got 7 people in the table. You went down to third. I think I'm 2 points behind you, actually, because I got 7 points in the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. So from first to seventh, I'll just quickly say who it is. We got Anonymous himself, our Anonymous UK Wrestling Knowledge. He is still first place in the table with 53 points. We've got our very sad Roman Reigns fan Ryan in up to second place now with 48 points. You, Ian, third place now with 47 points. Me in fourth place with 45 points. We've got Mark, who was supposed to be on the show today, 35 points. Our friend Blake down with 32 points, and in last place Andy, who just he predicts when he wants to predict.
I think he's just asleep.
I think he's just asleep most of the time. He pops up when he needs to. So he's only got 13 points. So obviously the winner of that predictions table at the end of the year, after I believe it'll be TLC. Between all of us, we will pay for a ticket to Revolution Pro Wrestling, a promotion that we, like to promote and we go to a lot. We all will chip in for one of their bigger events, all chip in and pay for a ticket for the winner. And myself personally, so this is me losing out either way, out the goodness of my own heart, because I am nice sometimes, I am. I will pay for the person who wins, to meet and get an autograph and a photo with an international talent that Revolution Pro Wrestling get over for that event. So, the stakes are high in that little prediction group.
It's exciting times.
It's exciting to be a wrestling fan. This is the weird and wonderful things we do.
And something I just want to mention, like just before I forget, was a point that I kind of thought of earlier, and it's just at the moment that, we were talking about there's all this talent coming in, and there's this crazy influx of wrestlers, and you've got to position them right. I just wanted to ask you, and I kind of want to ask, people who are listening, and if you're on our Facebook page, maybe you can just sort of like talk about this amongst yourselves and us. But what is the shelf life of a wrestler now? I mean, I think back in the kind of 80s, 90s, the shelf life of a wrestler was higher. But because of the amount of content that's being made, is the shelf life getting like shorter and shorter and shorter?
I mean, is this a question for our viewers for next week?
It's just something it's just kind of, it plays in my mind every so often. You know, it just seems to be getting to me. I feel that the shelf life of a wrestler is getting shorter and shorter.
Yeah, funny enough, I mean, if you want me to answer that, I'll be happy to.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, funny enough, I was listening to Talk Is Jericho podcast with Aaron Stevens, who is formerly known as Damien Sandow, and they were talking about this topic. Funny enough, and yeah, I think Jericho was kind of saying that an average, shelf life for a wrestler is 4 years now, which is very sad. I mean, unless you do become a top main event star, 4 years is the apparent shelf life for a wrestler.
It's not very long at all.
No,
Um,
not at all.
but yeah, what does everybody else think? I just kind of thought it was an interesting kind of point, to bring up.
Yeah. Anyway, just moving on quick. I mean, we're obviously from the UK. We love to promote British wrestling. We go to British wrestling shows ourselves to meet and greets. Um, is there any British wrestling news your side? I mean, obviously, I've got a few things that the anonymous UK wrestling guy has sent in to me. Very helpful. He is our Stig of the show, our special Raw general manager type person.
Well, I think at the moment, I would one piece of advice I would give people when it comes to British wrestling shows is that if you are going to any South Side wrestling events, maybe hold off on getting your tickets because especially if they've got TNA talent on them, as you may well know, a lot of TNA talent has yet again been pulled from a Southside wrestling event. It's already happened once. It's happened again. Little bit of a concern, really. It's just TNA all over again, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, as you know, I'm going to all the same events that you are.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so we've got the next one in July up in York Hall again.
I think the Runners team are in the York Hall for within the space of twice within the space of 3 days. We are, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. Yes, yeah.
June 10th, we're at Revolution Pro Wrestling Summer Sizzler. Obviously, the main event for that is Sabre Jr. versus Shibata. Two very good wrestlers. It's going to be an amazing match. Obviously, me, you, and our friend Blake's going to be there. Also, the anonymous UK wrestling guy will be there. We're not going to tell you who he is. He likes to remain an anonymous guy. And that's how he'll stay. You won't find out who he is.
He's like a member of Los Conquistadors.
Yeah. In fact, if you see a Los Conquistador in your call on July 10th, it is almost guaranteed to be the anonymous wrestling guy.
Yeah, but I am looking forward to that event. Autographs also for the upcoming Paul Heyman evening with by Inside the Ropes. There will be extra autographs on sale. I believe they're £22.50, and I think they go on sale on the 27th, which
Yep.
I'm hoping by my numbers is a Monday.
3 days' time.
So, if you want to get your tickets for that, I'm sure people already know this, but you can get your tickets for that and extra autographs as well. So that's going to be a good night. I'm quite looking forward to seeing the big walrus in real life.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, Paul Heyman's such an amazing guy. So yeah, I mean, we'll be there for the Paul Heyman with the Inside the Ropes as well on July 12th. There's a few, UK shows that we'd like to mention, but we'll have to do it in the next show. But yeah, I mean, obviously, the next bit that we are going to talk about is a very exciting part of the show that we like talking about, and that is today's Wrestler of the Week, and he is...
If you ever take a trip down to Cobb County, Georgia, you better read the signs. Respect the law and order. You serve hard times. You'll be serving hard times. You know the big boss man will make you walk the line. You better watch out.
How much does that remind you of just being a kid?
Oh, it is amazing. This week's Wrestler of the Week is the Big Boss Man. It's someone who you chose, Ian. We also chose it because we thought we was going to have Mark on the show, and we know our friend Mark really likes the Big Boss Man. So this is for you also, Mark. But yeah, Big Boss Man. I mean, as you said, how much does it remind you of your childhood? So much.
Yeah, I mean, he's had several incarnations, hasn't he, of different characters. You know, he was in WCW for a bit.
Big
Um,
Baba.
Big Baba. You know, just went into the Hall of Fame. A well-respected and, you know, if you don't know who the Big Boss Man is, then you're an idiot.
You stupid idiots.
Or maybe a Pero. You know,
Yeah, Pero.
everyone knows Big Boss Man. You know, a tough son of a bitch. Just incredible. You know, I think you're going to run through some of his sort of accolades, aren't you?
Oh yeah, I love a good stat or two. Obviously, he was billed from Cobb County, Georgia. He's 6'6", 315 pounds. He was born on May the 2nd, 1963. Obviously, the sad um, departure of the Big Boss Man was September the 22nd, 2004, at the very tender age of 41 years old. It's just very young, guys. His spouse, obviously, was Angela. He was married to her from 1989 to 2004. Very much a family guy with his two children, as you saw at the Hall of Fame ceremony this year. Very emotional. He made his debut in 1985, so he was very much a seasoned veteran. Obviously, his accomplishments. He was a four-time hardcore champion. You know, you can say all you want about the hardcore title. Very exciting time if you lived in the Attitude Era. Even the Undertaker held the hardcore title, so you can't say nothing about that. Also, tag champions. With Ken Shamrock, you know, in their own way, what a tag team they were, and obviously the well-deserved accolade of being in the 2016 Hall of Fame. Back to you, Ian.
Yeah. When I think of hardcore title, there's a couple of names I think of, and the Big Boss Man's one of them. But my things I always think with the Boss Man is when he was in the Twin Towers. No, not the Twin Towers. He did team with Akeem, didn't he, for quite a
He
lot?
did, yeah.
Was that the Twin Tower? No, Twin Towers was Akeem and Andre, wasn't it? Or was he? He wasn't in that, obviously, was he? I seem to remember him having a lot of matches with Akeem.
Oh yeah, no, he did, yeah.
Or just him and Akeem. I mean, I was very young back then, obviously. So to me, I always remember Bossman and Akeem in the ring. Obviously, his theme music, and I always
Brilliant.
remember the promos he used to cut on like Wrestling Challenge. You know, not
Yeah,
ones in the ring, just the ones with the backdrop behind him when he'd go on about being from Cobb County and that, you know, he was there to serve justice in the World Wrestling Federation and all this stuff. And then, kind of like when you got into the Attitude Era, he just seemed to get like tougher and tougher and tougher. Um, what year did he die?
he died in 2004.
And he was wrestling up to about 2000, I think, wasn't he? 2000,
Ye-
2001 in WWF anyway.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like obviously, when I started watching wrestling, um, I seem to remember vividly the feuds with Nails, and I mean, I was totally at a blip earlier when we were discussing what we were going to talk about, and I just said to you, I can remember him all the time wrestling a guy in an orange jumpsuit, and you was like, bam, Nails,
I,
it was just,
I think Nails is one of those like personas that was brought in just for the boss man. Um,
uh,
Nails was the convict, boss man was the copper, wasn't he? So it was you know,
yeah,
it was like peanut butter and jelly or whatever.
well, that's it. I mean, they had enough confidence in him to, bring in someone just for him, and that's obviously, WWE saying, we like your gimmick, we like what you're doing, and I mean, obviously, we liked that music more than the later Bossman music. I like the old wrestling attire with the blue attire instead of the later black attire that he had in WWF. Um, yeah, I mean, it's just two different parts of his wrestling career but they were both really good parts, really good things that he done in his career, I think.
Yeah, I mean, one other bit that always sticks out in my head is when he interrupted the Big Show's father's funeral, which was just
Oh,
utter
good.
madness. He didn't he attach himself to the coffin, and the coffin was being dragged along by the car. Is that correct?
I've
If I'm saying this, but it was just like, what the hell?
I've had training, funny enough, to be an undertaker myself, so I shouldn't really laugh. But you just saying about that scene, I just can't help but laugh my head off. Um, but yeah, he attached um, the Big Show's father's casket like to his car like a
That's it.
rope. Yeah, and he dragged it down the road with the Big Show on top of the casket, like no, don't take my father,
It was one of the most
Oh,
weirdest skits that WWE had ever done. And then they also did the what was it when the big boss man took Al Snow's dog Pepper and
Pepper.
made him into a pie, and he made Al Snow eat the pie or something, wasn't it?
Oh, well, that's associated with the hardcore title times and just such funny scenes. I mean, you obviously associate Al Snow with that title a lot, and yeah, I mean, the Pepper thing was just brilliant.
You had the Kennel from Hell match as well,
The Kennel from Hell match,
which was
yeah.
pathetic because the dogs in it were supposed to be ravenous, but really they were just they didn't do
Humping each
anything
other.
at all. Yeah, they didn't do anything. They were,
Like,
you know,
they were literally humping each other, the dogs.
yeah.
There was, um, yeah, the Kennel from Hell match, obviously was just a cage with a Hell in a Cell around the cage, dogs around the cage, outside, in between the Hell in a Cell and the cage. But yeah, I mean, he just done so many good things. I mean, the legendary scene of him versus Taker at WrestleMania 15, him getting hung by the Brood and Taker. I mean, that was, I think probably was his Mania moment, would you say?
Yeah, I remember that bit quite well. Yeah, I'd probably say that was his moment, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, obviously being in Vince McMahon's corporation as well, um, you know, Vince chose his people well, and he knew that Boss Man could be his security guard, and him tagging with the world's most dangerous man, Ken Shamrock, was, also a good thing.
Yeah, great, great personality, great legacy. I think it's any way I could describe the boss man. Just such a tragic loss at sort of 41 years of age. Is just nothing at all, is it?
Nah, that's it. So, Yeah, I mean, I guess that's our wrestler of the week, Big Boss Man. I mean, you know, as I said before, to someone wrestler of the week don't necessarily have to be who is the best wrestler of the week. It's our choice of wrestler. It could be anyone, past, present, even a future wrestler that you don't really know much about. But yeah, that's wrestler of the week. I think we had a question, our first ever question. You know, to have acknowledgement. Um, to have a first ever question on only our second ever podcast is a thing I appreciate very much, and I know you do too, Ian. So we've got a question here from Harry Farrow. Um, he says, one wrestling match you would show a friend who knocks you for watching wrestling. So a friend who takes a piss out of you for being a wrestling fan, which I do get a lot.
Are you asking me that question, or?
Oh, well, both of us. You
Yeah.
first, then me,
Um,
whatever.
well, without sounding like a bit of a dick, Harry, I can't necessarily answer that question on just what you've asked, because for me it would depend who the person was. Um, if they were a child, sort of like it could be between the ages of 10 and 15, I would have to think about, you know, when I got into wrestling, it was the characters, it was what they looked like, it was the gimmick that made me want to watch that match. So for me, when I was young, I loved people like Papa Shango, the Repo Man, Crush, Boss Man, because they had that gimmick behind them. So even but back then, I didn't appreciate the physical aspect of what they were doing, but I did appreciate the promos and the entrance and all those kind of things. So if it was a young child, I'd probably show them something along the lines of when Papa Shango had his feud with the Ultimate Warrior or something like that. Because to me, I love Papa Shango. The weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. So I love that. But if it was showing somebody in, between the ages of maybe 16 and 30, then I might go for the approach of actually let's not watch anything from WWE. Let's watch something from an indie, from a British indie, from Ring of Honor. Um, I can't. I'm not going to pick out specific matches, but maybe some Adam Cole stuff. Um, some Kevin Steen and I'm having a mind blank here. El Generico stuff, because I mean their feud just kind of went on and on and on and on, and they had some absolutely brutal matches. So for the older fan, I would choose the matches that are more on the athletic wrestling side of things. Um, for the younger fan, I would choose something that was just plain out outlandish and just craziness. Doink was another one. I remember the feud between Doink and Crush, um, and I think you had the little Doinks, whatever they were called,
Dink.
Pink and Dink and all that.
Yeah.
That was the stuff that kind of drew me in back then. So really, it depends on age, it depends on the demographic that the question's aimed at, really. But yeah, I know it's not a full-on answer, but yeah, I hope that kind of answers part of the question.
For me, Harry, a, a wrestling match I would show a friend who knocks me for watching wrestling. Um, Personally, obviously, I would go for something non-gimmicky. Um, I would I would either go for something that has like good bumps in it, or you know, or something that is a pure out and out good wrestling match. Um, I'd either go for something maybe like a Mankind and Undertaker Hell in a Cell match from King of the Ring. Obviously, if someone watched that and saw Foley flying off the top of the cell, um, it doesn't matter. People are going to go, "Whoa, that's messed up," because that was a match based on just bumps. Also, I mean, you know, two matches that I consider two of my favourite matches, like technical wrestling matches. They're not the favourite, but two I might show would be Shawn Michaels and Undertaker from WrestleMania 25. I've watched that countless times. I still believe it is the best WrestleMania match today. Obviously, people can disagree. Also, CM Punk versus John Cena from Money in the Bank 2011. I just love the whole, you know, Punk leaving through the crowd. I'm not with the company no more. I'm taking your title. Absolutely brilliant. The match was great as well. But yeah, I mean, also, you know, someone who is just technically sound, like, you know, watch a non-WWE AJ Styles match or something, you know. Maybe Styles Nakamura, or I don't know, you know, something along those lines. But yeah, that's my answer to you, Harry, for what you asked. And thank you for being the first ever question on our show. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, unfortunately, you don't win anything apart from our admiration and maybe a hug one day, perhaps. And you know, and Harry will know what I mean when I say this. But yes, you will get a Wilco. He will know what I'm talking about. but yeah, I think that's pretty much everything for this show, isn't it? And
Yeah.
I would like to just mention the Facebook group. You know, please give us a like. I think you can go into Facebook, just type the Wrestle Ranters, come check out the page. You know, it's still in early stages at the moment, really. And also I've uploaded a video of the latest Wrestle Crate. If you want to check that out, if you can bear to listen to me talk about crap, you know, please come and check that out. And yeah, I think that's about it, really, isn't it, Aaron, for this week?
Yeah, a very good week of news, and you know, I think we're pretty much covered on the weekly events of wrestling.
Yeah, and I think I'll just kind of leave the show. I've got this queued up now anyway, so I'm going to play it. I'm not going to tell anyone what it is, but we will see you next week. Not quite sure what day it will be, but we will. We won't see you, yeah, we won't hear you, but you'll hear us. So see you later.
Arrivederci.
Dad, I love you. You're a good man. And everything I have in life, I've learned from you. Now, what in the hell is that? No, you don't. Hell no. Come on. Daddy always wanted to be a boy.